common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
J.P. Morgan made a ton of money. Bank of America made money. Wells Fargo was close to making money. I don't know. And people are saying interest rates may go down. Well, it's an election year. I don't want to tell Larry Kudlow I told you so. Larry Kudlow, the leading economist of the country. Larry, what is your gut feeling?
John, you've been telling me so for 2 years. At some point, you might get it.
A clock is right twice a day, even if it's broken.
I'm just kidding. I love you. On that point, look, I will say this. Inflation has eased down in recent months, but the year-to-year change is still way above their target. I mean, the CPI is 3% plus, the core is 3.5%. The target is 2%, and I don't think there's any rush for them. And if they do it in September, for example, I mean, the futures markets are predicting lower rates now for several years incorrectly. But if you run it in September, it's going to look very, very political. And Trump will not be happy with that. And it compromises the Fed's reputation. So they better be damn careful because they have not hit their target yet. They've hit it for a couple of months, yes, but they have not hit the 12-month change. They have not hit it for several quarters in a row. And let's not forget that the level of prices has gone up 20% during Mr. Biden's term, with energy prices up nearly 40% and groceries over 20%. So I would be very cautious on that. I know the stock market is rallying, but your point about the banks is a good point, John, because, bank stocks are very important, and I think they're in pretty good shape, at least for the large banks, and that's a healthy sign. And there's some diversification going on from the big tech companies out a little bit into commodities and industrials, which might be good. On the other hand, to be honest with you, the stock market may be predicting a Trump victory, and Trump's going to be good to corporations and deregulation and cutting taxes. And I want to say the Trump platform that came out Monday was the growthiest platform in 44 years since Ronald Reagan. The growthiest Republican platform in 44 years since Reagan. I mean, it was a thing of beauty, with low taxes and deregulation and drill, baby, drill, and keeping the dollar as the world's reserve currency. Really a terrific platform. I want to make that point. And
I wonder who helped write it.
Well, it was, a lot of people have input. He himself, by the way, took a pretty good pencil to one of the earlier drafts that some of us had contributed to. The other thing I want to say is Joe Biden's going to be the Democratic nominee. I mean, barring some major awful health development, which I do not want,
Well, if he was in Russia, he'd fall out of the fifth floor.
That's very good. But there's, he's going to be at the top of the ticket. And his problem is, yes, he has cognitive issues, but his problem is he's a big government socialist. They're running the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, spend, tax, regulate, electric vehicles in China, the open borders, a catastrophe, law and order is shot, lawfare is folded. I mean, that's his problem. His problem is his issues are highly unpopular. That's his problem. It's not just the cognitive issues. But right now he owns the machinery, and barring a terrible health accident, which I do not wish for him, I wouldn't wish for anybody, barring a terrible accident, he's going to be the nominee. I've been saying that. I continue to say that. But I love the Trump platform. 20 bullets. That's all it is. 20 bullets. You got to go and look at it. It's the growthiest platform since Reagan in 1980.
Ed Cox?
So, Larry, inflation's at about 3%.
Yes.
The growth in the economy in first quarter is 1 point something. Again, the second quarter will be 1 point something percent on an annualized basis.
Yes.
Does that mean that we have, in real terms, negative growth?
No, because those 1.3s are after inflation. Now, I have a different spin on it, though. When you get down to 1 to 2% growth, again, after inflation, in the old days, in the economics profession, we used to call it a growth recession. And there's no question the consumer is slipping badly. Housing is in the tank. Manufacturing continues to decline. Consumer confidence was out today. The Michigan Sentiment Index fell again. That thing's around 60. During the Trump years, it was over 100. So people don't seem to have much confidence. I wouldn't want to make a recession call right now. I would just make a major slowdown call. I think that's, what stimulus exists is government spending and government jobs. It's not the private sector. It's the government. And that is unhealthy and it's unsustainable. And so if the Federal Reserve comes in and starts pumping, money into the economy, they're chasing politics, to tell you the truth. That's why I think it would be a very big mistake. The unemployment rate has gone from 3.4 to 4.0, I think, or 4.1. I think it's 4.0. If the unemployment rate gets to 4.5 in the next couple of months, or even 5, that would be a recession call. And we've got several more jobs reports between now and Election Day.
I thought the inflation rate year to year from last June to this June was like 3%. And,
yes.
And they were saying that, 3%, my feeling is it might be enough not to allow some of our 675 banks on the watch list to go bankrupt.
Well, look, John, that's a credit issue. Okay, that's a bank supervision issue. That's not a monetary policy issue.
But it's overall economy.
Not necessarily. These banks are behemoths, and they make money even when certain of their divisions are losing money. I have a lot of friends. I have lunches and dinners with the Bank of America and J.P. Morgan. They're so diversified now. And they just passed their stress test. They just passed the stress test.
I'm talking about the 675 mama and papa banks around the country that depend on real estate. And since real estate industry is going to crap because of the high interest rates, they're going to go bankrupt and they're going to be eaten up by the big banks.
Well, let's see what happens on that score. That's a forecast.
Thank you. Larry Kudlow, I'll be listening to you. Are you on this weekend from 10 to 1?
Of course I am.
I will be listening to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. On WABC is the number one show from 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings to 1 o'clock. And after that, from 1 to 3, Steve Moore, Larry Kudlow's, you're teaching, Mr. Moore.
Steve Moore is a good man.
He's a good man.
Good man.
Thank you so much, and we'll be listening to you tomorrow. Thank you so much.